tune progresses, you kind of start to add more layers and it gets a little bit techier. It's quite common to add a 16th note tambourine, 16 bars or 32 bars in, and that would sound a little bit like this. Obviously, there are a million real tambourine samples out there, so feel free to use those, but it's nice to be able to kind of synthesize something along the lines of that. Also, I've added in these snare ghosts, which is just versions of the original. I use that same trick with the hat where I pitch him up and then back down with a frequency shifter to create some sort of difference in the sound to remove the robotic nature of them. The tambourines then, let's quickly go through them. I'm gonna just, again, create some space so we can kind of zoom in on just this and ignore everything else. So let's grab a whole bar then and zoom in. Sweet. So this chain's a little bit more complex, but I think we'll be just fine. So I created some width by creating two versions of it. Let's create a new one, and then maybe let's put the original back in where it was. Cool. Again, any messing around with this one that I do won't affect the next. So I'll just get rid of the width layer, and we can just talk about one thing at a time. So let's take off everything and piece it back together as we work on. Always forget the shortcut for the scrolling on this one. There you go. Cool. So the initial and most important thing is choosing the source sound and then the envelope. So in this case, I wanted something really peaky. So Aircam 4 has provided that pretty well. If we look on span here, there's loads of these kind of really resonant spikes, which if you look at a tambourine, that's what it's about. Okay, so I've got utility up then. Let's have a look at the envelope. So it's creating this 16th note rhythm. I've got each quarter note louder than the rest. And I've actually made sure that there's quite a lot of variation in like the lengths and kind of transient hits of each one. So this one's got a scoop, this one's got a slightly longer scoop, this one's got just a tick, you know, where it goes from 0 straight to full volume, just to make sure that it's sounding kind of natural. This one's been lifted a little bit, so I'm just doing it by ear, you know, just kind of looping around this section. Just creating some differences to make sure it's less robotic. I've also done some pitch shifting with a frequency shifter after this to again create some more movement in the sound, so it doesn't sound like a completely synthesized tambourine. So